Welcome to episode 13 of Curious Conversations. Myself and Aiden are pretty buzzing right now. It is Friday the 11th and we are filming this. We're heading to Warsaw today.
Yes, we are, bro.
We're filming the podcast 6 a.m. before we head away, just so we can keep ahead, because we've got some holidays and stuff over the next couple of weeks. So, yeah, we're buzzing for Warsaw. We fly out from Edinburgh today. How are you feeling?
I'm gassed, bro. I can't wait, honestly. I'm so buzzing, mate. It's going to be top class. I feel like I've been telling so many people this past week, like, my 4 best mates are all going on this trip and I can't wait. It's just going to be good vibes from the off. Obviously, we are competing tomorrow at 11:40. And then Dale and Ryan, 12 in the same wave. Gonna be cool to see kind of how that pans out. And yeah, a lot more exciting things to come across the weekend. Obviously the relay at night as well. So yeah, mate, I'm buzzing. What about you? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling buzzing as well. I'm buzzing for the trip overall, but I'm actually buzzing to compete again as well. I think because Glasgow was so, like, it was literally a couple of weeks ago. So it feels like we've not really stopped since then, and we haven't in terms of training and stuff. We're both feeling, well, I'm feeling ready. Are you feeling?
I'm feeling so
good?
ready. I feel so much better than I did coming into Glasgow, if I'm honest. Like my trainings, I feel like I've not kind of skipped a beat. Nutrition's been on point, and feeling a lot stronger. So, yeah, ready to go.
Let's go. So we compete tomorrow. Doubles at 11:40, and then we are all in the relay at night time. Me, Aiden, Dale, and Ryan, and at 8 p.m. So we're going to do a Hyrox recap as well as an episode like we done with the Glasgow Hyrox. So we're going to be doing that some point next week.
Yeah,
when we get back. So yeah, this podcast we were out for a walk the other day, chatting about what we wanted to talk about, and a topic came up that I'd been speaking a lot about with members, with clients, and it was being good at the world-class basics and focusing on the world-class basics. And I want to kind of go into a little bit of detail as to what that is. So a lot of the time when people aren't making progress, the progress they want to within their own fitness, they look out with and they look, right, I need to do more of this. It must be this, it must be that. And always tends to be that they're missing out something in terms of the basics, the foundations. Okay, I would say if you think of the foundations of building a house, you have to have the foundations first before you build the house, or else the house goes to pot. It's the exact same with your fitness goals. And the world class basics, what we talk about with fitness, is knowing your calorie intake. Okay, so having an awareness of that first off, which usually comes at the start from tracking your food on a daily basis, literally everything that you eat. Making sure that you're moving, so knowing how much you are moving through steps, tracking your training, making sure that you're progressing with your training, and also ticking all your training off, so doing all of your training, not missing sessions. And last one was making sure that you're getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep, making sure you're getting a good sleep and a good quality of sleep as well. They are the 4 kind of foundations, and if you're not making progress, we always tie it back to this first, and usually for the most part it comes back to that.
Yeah.
What's your experience with that?
I think that's what we were speaking about as well. Like, I think that if you can get these basics dialed down to a T, then you can't not see success. You will 100% get better if you dial in every single one of them. And see, you just saying that, it makes it sound so much easier than it actually is. People need to, as you say, build the foundations, build those habits, and build up the kind of the basics to then do it for a consistent amount of time. Because you could do these, I could do every single one that you just spoke about there, like for like a week, and then maybe fall off like for 3 days in the next week, and then maybe try and get back on it for 2, and like you need to be able to do it consistently.
Yeah.
And I think that is just kind of about installing those kind of basics into your life and making it frictionless as possible. I think that's what it always comes down to. Like, if you're speaking to someone and they're not succeeding in their fitness goals, then one of them's out of whack. One of them is going wrong. Whether that's down to their sleep, their nutrition, their training, like things like that. Like, so many people focus on like stuff that it's not even getting anything to do with. Like, oh, it's just, you know what it is, bro. It's that bread, bro. It's those carbohydrates. It's not that. It is not that. You could literally, if you're in a calorie deficit by eating 1,700 calories, you could literally lose weight off eating 1,700 calories worth of bread.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not that. It's about kind of dialing in all these basics and kind of being real with yourself and like allowing yourself to understand I'm not doing these things.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. You need to just kind of be real with yourself and as I say, it takes time to build those habits, build those kind of basics into your routine, but the best time to start is now.
Yeah, 100%. When I was working with my mental performance coach, they spoke about something called the drama triangle. And the drama triangle is when you weren't seeing results in a certain thing and you're getting frustrated with something, you'll look to blame something. So that's what you're talking about. People look to blame something and they go, it must be this, it must be that. So for example, you said, it must be the carbs I'm eating, like it must be the bread, but I'm still going to eat wraps. Yeah, so it's like, it must be this, it must be that, it must be the like the monster I'm drinking. It must be like they place it on one singular thing that they're doing on a daily basis, when it usually comes, as we always say, it comes back to the basics.
That's actually the problem. See, them doing that, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Like, them putting it to one thing is the problem.
Yeah.
You know?
It must be the seed oils that I'm having within the, I don't know, the one packet of crisps I've had that week. That's what's made me like gain weight this week. Like it always goes back to, like, you'll see a lot of people, like nutrition people, blow up on social media because they focus on these certain things for clout. So they will say, oh, seed oils, like I'm a big proponent of whole foods, but like people who really focus in on dialing in your nutrition so you can only eat like meat and veg and like that's it, like that's not right. You want to have a big balance of food as well, and yeah, it all comes back to the nutritional basics, the sleep basics, your training and movement basics. Everything ties back to that, and that ties into kind of the next topic that we want to talk about, which is it comes back to being honest with yourself. Like, this is a massive topic, and it's like the little lies you tell in your head aren't moving you forward. Like, myself and Aiden were speaking about it the other day, we still tell ourselves little lies, like, and it's not until someone calls you on it. So that's why I always like having a coach, because you get caught in a thought process over and over again of like telling yourself a little lie in your head, oh, I'm doing this because this reason, a little story, as Christian on the last episode said, like we tell ourselves this narrative in our head, a story, and it's usually a lie. It's usually just a made up lie. And yeah, like it comes from asking yourself the right questions and being completely honest and transparent with where you're currently at and accepting it as well. That comes into the acceptance piece we were talking about. The first step on Alcohol Anonymous and any sort of transformative program is acceptance of where you're at currently and acceptance of your life circumstances. And like, if you can't accept that you are only tracking 4 days out of the week and having 2 takeaways every weekend, and you're saying, oh, it must be this, must be that. If you can't accept that, you're never going to move forward. Never. Like, if you can't accept and your ego isn't allowing you to accept it, you're never going to move forward. It is as simple as that. And it's like we still struggle with certain things as well, and I think it just comes from like awareness of it first off, which we're going to tap into,
Yeah.
but accepting where you're at.
I think it is as well, like you say, like having a coach to like check you on it as well. I think even like just speaking out loud, like with someone.
Yeah.
That's probably been quite a lot of times where we've spoke about it, where like I've been playing this kind of like weird narrative in my head, or like even speaking to Dale about a situation yesterday as well, like, and like I was just literally storytelling in my head, and none of that is true in your head until you actually start to like speak about it, and you start to like actually, it comes to a place of like respecting yourself as well. Like you need to like respect yourself to be honest with yourself, you know.
Yeah.
Like, because if you don't respect yourself, then you're just gonna always kind of tell yourself these little white lies and just like basically just bullshit your way through life. So it's so important to be able to have that acceptance when it comes to everything, but definitely when it comes to like a fitness goal. Like if you're constantly telling yourself, oh yeah, you know, that it would be better off if I done this thing that doesn't really kind of guide me towards my goals because I've got this kind of wee small excuse. It's like, it doesn't work. Like, you need to be fully transparent with yourself, as Anton says, and like, just make sure that you're showing up for yourself. You're not doing it for anyone else, so may as well show up for yourself and be honest with yourself. And I think that's one of the most important things when starting
Yeah.
a fitness journey.
One of the things we spoke about there that I want to go a wee bit deeper on is, like you were talking about having that conversation with Dale, and like how important that is to have someone there, like whether it is a coach or an honest friend to check you on your shit. Like you're going to tell yourself these shit stories and probably like over and over again, but having someone there to listen to that and then see it from a different perspective and be like, you're talking shit here.
Yeah,
you
I totally agree, and I feel like it's a shame because there's probably not a lot of people out there that have got friends like that.
Yeah.
Because there's probably a lot of friends that are quite people pleasing in terms of like someone going, oh yeah, it's alright, you know what, you could do that, you could do this, like, and not actually telling them straight.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to like maybe upset them or something like that. But I feel like having someone there, having a person that kind of tells you straight and is honest with you, it's going to make you move forward, and it's going to allow you to be more honest with yourself as well.
Yeah, and you want to be that person for other people as well.
Totally.
You want to be honest with people, but I think it starts with being honest with yourself first off. But people have so much more respect for you if you call them on their bullshit, and call them on the story they're telling in their head, because as we said before, you're almost unaware of the story that you're telling in your head first off. Like you're like it's usually an ingrained story or an ingrained narrative that's been constant in your head for this whole time. I am the person who does this. Like that is probably what goes, it's like a line of code in our brain. So having someone to call you out on it, but like bringing a different perspective to it, becoming aware of it is huge and change.
Totally agree.
That leads to, again, awareness. We're chatting about this a lot, but we probably speak about this on every second podcast, is awareness.
It's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Honestly, mate, it's the most important thing, I think.
Yeah, it's a trait that I always kind of want, I look for in people is self-awareness. And I always try and teach it to a certain extent because it's helped me so much. Self-awareness it comes from looking within, like first off, and asking the right questions again. And for me, journaling helps a lot because it's like a daily habit that allows me to ask myself the right questions, and it's helped bring about more self-awareness as to how I'm feeling. Also, speaking to other people. Okay, so speaking to you, speaking to any of the guys that's in, speaking to Jenna, like speaking out loud, like, and having a conversation a little bit deeper and asking the right questions always brings about more awareness as to how you're feeling.
I've learned so much about myself from like speaking to you, Dale and Ryan. Like honestly, like I've learned so much about myself. It's insane. But yeah, I think it's the most important thing, because I feel like you could be doing something right and you could know that it's maybe not serving you, but see until you actually are aware of why you're doing it, like, and what's the reasoning behind you doing that, I feel like you're still going to continue to do it. Like, there's been situations in my life where that's been the case. like knowing like why and kind of maybe like, for example, like if you're like attaching emotion towards food and stuff like that. I was like talking to my dad about this last night as I was driving home, because I was talking to him about like the whole thing that Christian said about when the kid's crying, when the kid's crying, you give them food to make them a little bit happier. When they do well or it's their birthday, you give them cake, things like that. And I didn't realise that, and I feel like there might be some people out there that are like in the habit of emotionally eating but not understanding why and can't get out the cycle, but see until someone explains something like that to you, it might not click. It might be quite, it's probably quite hard to get out of that cycle, but see until someone explains that's why you've been brought up like this, like you've been, like, these habits have been installed into you. I think it makes it a little bit easier to change.
100%.
You know?
There's one of my mentors beforehand said sometimes you need to be told something a different way to understand it, and it's so true, because like the thing I always think of is like, see when I was younger, see like quotes, like I don't know, like motivational quotes or anything like that. I used to think like, I used to read some of them and I'm like that's bullshit, like that's so bullshit. But now I read certain quotes and it hits me in a different way, because you've experienced life in a different sense and you have more perspective. Like that's what, it's the exact same. Like say for example you listen to this podcast right now, you might learn something, like you might not really learn something, and then you listen back in a year's time, you've had a different experience within that year's life, so you're literally a different person at that point. So you might learn something, we might say something in a certain way today that it really resonates with you in a year's time from now, that is, but again sometimes you need to hear things said in a different way. So that's like the power of storytelling, sharing your own story, because it's just a different narrative, a different perspective from someone else's head.
Totally.
So awareness is massive. One of my favourite audiobooks I've ever listened to is an audiobook called Awareness by Anthony DeMello. It's kind of a weird audiobook though. It's almost like he's speaking to a crowd, because you can hear like the laughing and all that. Yeah. But it's really good. I would definitely recommend it. Awareness by Anthony DeMello.
Totally, mate. I totally agree on like the whole kind of like quotes and stuff like that. There's probably been a lot of quotes out there that I've read before, and then they've maybe not hit, but I've read them like maybe again and stuff like that, and then they've hit me. I'm like literally like all my tattoos are quotes, so I'm a mad quotey guy. So yeah, I totally understand that, mate. Definitely. Yeah.
100%. We want to chat a little bit as well about overwhelm and go into like something we're chatting about on our walk together, and that's the overwhelm threshold and how it's like in a growth zone. But why don't we share how we've kind of been feeling and why?
Yeah. So I think we've both had a little period of overwhelm this week. I think for you it was Monday, for me it was Wednesday. I'll just speak a little bit about kind of how I was feeling on Wednesday. So we were kind of just like we're on the split shift. And from the get-go, I don't know whether it was kind of just the feeling that I was woke up a little bit anxious, feeling it a little bit, got into the gym, feeling a little bit better and stuff like that, but as the day progressed, started to feel a little bit more overwhelmed. Things started to creep up where I had to do some things, had to get some shit done, trying to fit in some other things. It was like, it can get quite overwhelming in terms of like how we are moving just now, because we're moving at such a fast pace and everything's building around us, and I'm so grateful for that. I'm actually grateful to feel that overwhelmed feeling. But every single time that I do feel overwhelmed, I love to speak to you about it, because I know that you get the same feeling, and I know that a lot of people out there get the same feeling. I like to speak to Dale and Ryan about it as well. But like, we were out on that walk and you explained something to me called the overwhelm threshold. Do you want to kind of dive
of course
into that a little bit and kind of explain what that is?
Yeah, so first off, I was feeling the same on Monday, as Aiden said. Like I get through these periods where like I'm fine for like a week, even a couple of weeks, and then it gets to a point where I feel really overwhelmed with certain things. sometimes it can happen like that. Sometimes it can happen like a couple of days a week. But usually, from a perspective of, there's too many things to do within the time zone that is there. Like that's what I'm trying to pile on top of. Like we do a lot. Like we like out with coaching hours. You're creating content. You're checking in with clients. You're doing podcasts. You're creating content. You're doing a lot. And sometimes you forget that. Sometimes you think, oh, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing enough. But yeah, sometimes you get these periods of overwhelm. And usually, as I'm going to go into, it comes from like the growth zone. So as you know yourself, like there's one of these quotes, like nothing grows inside the comfort zone. So when you are overwhelmed, or when you have a little bit more on your plate, usually it's coming from because you're just out with your overwhelm threshold, or just outside your comfort zone. And it's hard to strike a balance between, there's like 3 different phases. So there's like the comfort zone, there's like the growth zone, and then there's like complete overwhelm. So you want to be in between that like growth zone and overwhelm to grow as much as possible. But another quote is the more you do, the more you can do. So it just means it's like progressive overload with life, pretty much. So like same with progressive overload, if over time, if you increase your reps and weight, like you're going to get stronger over time. But it's the same with your your mental side as well, like in terms of how much you're going to grow mentally. If you can handle a certain amount of tasks on a daily basis, you're going to learn to do them better and more efficiently so that you can fit in other things. But I think it's sometimes when I get this overwhelmed period, I sit back and think, and I think this is probably a moment of growth for me. Like I'm going to grow from this. So it kind of flicks the switch a little bit. But again, I think we all, like in this day and age, it's such a fast-paced life, and we're very stimulated with certain things. And I think it's always good to just have someone there to check in with and talk about these things. For me, again, it was Dale. Like I had a KPI meeting with Dale on Monday, and we just walked and I just chatted about how I was feeling with certain things, and he just took my perspective and flipped the perspective, or just like I would do with you, I would do with any client as well. And it just helps having someone question you certain things that you weren't thinking of before.
So I had my KPI yesterday with Dale, and I think my overwhelm stems from a different thing to yours, like maybe a little bit similar, but like mine is to do with my like organisation. That's how I get overwhelmed, because I'm not doing as much as I can in terms of like an organisation standpoint. Got there in the end. That's where I'm going wrong. That's why I'm finding it hard to kind of manage, and I'm starting to get days where I'm feeling overwhelmed because I've not got these tasks set in place to where, right, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to set this at that time, because there's a lot of time where you can get carried away in here. We're all having a laugh, we're all having a good time. Should I train? Should I not? Like things like that. See, if you've not got that set in stone, like you're always going to be guessing when you're going to be doing it. You know, same with like when am I doing check-ins? When am I posting content? When am I making content? Things like that. It's like having these things set in structure, like, are what removes my overwhelm, I think. That's why I'm getting overwhelmed, because there's so many things that I'm thinking in my head that I need to do, but until I actually like put it down on like say like a calendar, or say like a notepad, take a little look at it, these tasks probably like all together probably don't take over 2 hours, you know. I think that's one thing that I'm trying to improve on just now, and that's what kind of stems my overwhelm, and that's what I didn't really realise until I spoke to Dale a little bit yesterday about it, and that's what kind of my whole KPI meeting was about, was like kind of being organised, and not being a slave to your day almost, and not allowing your day to kind of like dictate what it wants, you know. So I think that's kind of what stems my overwhelm. What would you say? Would you say you're the same?
The exact same, mate. Like that's what I was going to go into a wee bit deeper, and how I solved it on Monday. And that was because I had that conversation with Dale and I was right, something needs to change for tomorrow or else I'm going to feel the exact same.
Yeah.
And what I done was, when I went home, when I finished work, went home, had dinner and stuff, chilled out for a little bit, and then I planned my whole day the night before and just wrote out the tasks that I had to get done before Warsaw. That was probably maybe what was stemming as well, because I knew I usually do a little bit of work over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but I knew I'm going to be away this weekend, so I'm not going to be doing that. And I just wrote out the tasks that I had to get done before Warsaw. And see, it's so funny, like as I was speaking to Dale about this, you make up these like tasks in your head and you think it's going to take like so much longer than it's going to, and see when you put it down on a bit of paper, write down how much time it's going to take, it doesn't take that much time, like it really doesn't, and you can fit it into your day. So I want to go back to what you said there in terms of actually controlling your day and not letting your day control you. Like that is something that I've learned, that's like I still have days that control me almost, and I let my day get on top of me. However, see if you control your day to a point where you know what you're doing at a certain time, like throughout the day, like have a structure, it is huge. And Google Calendar helps massively with that. Like for like that's like a beginner mode, and then advanced mode for me is the night before. Write out what you have to do tomorrow, write out the tasks, actually have a clear idea in your head as to like, right, this is when I'm training, this is when I'm going to be meal prepping, this is when I'm eating, this is when I'm driving. You don't want to get like down to the nitty gritty, but you want to have like brief times of when you're going to be working, when you're going to be chilling, because if you don't, then you're so right, you get to that point where you just let your day run you, and like
Totally.
we could be in here and we're like having a laugh and like, oh, maybe I'll train now, or maybe I'll work later, like that kind of thing. If you've got it set in stone, overwhelm starts to dissipate.
100%, and especially see when you do that as well, that's the thing that you realise, like when you start to do your calendar, it frees up pockets of space and it makes like your day so much more efficient, because like, see if you want to, like that you can have like these wee periods of time where you are like scrolling on your phone or something like that, but like have them scheduled in. Like no one's saying to not ever do that, but like mindlessly doing it for you can literally use up your full day by doing that, if you don't have like any trajectory towards like when you're going to train, when you're going to work, when you're going to eat, things like that. It's like, I think that it's super beneficial. I'm saying that, and that's definitely something I need to improve on. So if you do want to improve on that, then get the Google Calendar out, get the jotter out, get noting down what you want to do the next day, and I'm certain that you'll see improvement in your life.
Yeah, that's it. I said that after this week. I've done it every night this week now, because I like daily journaling in the morning has been a habit of mine for ages, but nighttime routine I don't really have any. Like I wind down like before bed, but I don't really have a nighttime routine as such, and I want to implement that on like a daily basis now, because it just settles my mind so much more. So that's going to be something that I'm keeping top of mind.
Yeah.
Overwhelm, like we spoke about kind of why we're maybe feeling overwhelmed as well, with like what's happening around us and like the growth of sin. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, mate, totally. So everything's coming in pretty thick and fast when it comes to sin. I'm honestly couldn't be more excited with everything, with like the space we've got, with the team we've got. Just makes me so proud to be a part of this team, and obviously us expanding upstairs and the kind of growth that we're moving at is just really exciting. And I think that's got maybe something to do with the overwhelm, because there's a lot of things that you need to tick off the box. And see, to be honest, mate, I wouldn't have it any other way. I would not have it any other way. I think that it's a pleasure to feel that overwhelmed feeling, because a lot of the time, like, see, when you've got a lot of tasks, you've got a lot of purpose. Well, for me anyway, me. So yeah, we're expanding up the stairs, of course, but we had that meeting on Tuesday, our quarter one meeting, And it was just top class, mate. Just basically the whole kind of purpose of the meeting was to kind of align with each other, make sure we kind of knew where we wanted to be coming into the next few quarters, and basically just like all making sure that we're doing everything we possibly can to make this place the best possible place it can be for anyone. And that means anyone, whether that's wee Linda that's 64 and is just coming here to make sure that she's kind of ticking the box and improving as an older woman, or it's fucking Mad Scott, the ex-gymnast that's looking to push numbers, things like that. It's literally made for anyone, mate. And that's what fills me with so much pride, is because the versatility and the also like the hard work that goes into it. People might not see that because like they don't really see much. We might post a few things on, like as I say, like the meetings that we have, but there's so much work going into this, and I can't wait for people to, like, more people to come on board and kind of join our incredible community, because it's something that's really, really special and you don't really know until you've felt it.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. Like, you're right. Like, yeah, we all have a laugh in here, and like we put up stupid videos and all that, but like it's like there's a lot of work being going on behind the scenes, and it does, like, as you say, like I'm also, it's a privilege. It's actually, pressure is a privilege, and having the like the tasks to do, having the purpose of it on a daily basis to drive sin to the moon, mate. It's like I cannot wait for the expansion as well. Like we've got a lot of things in the pipeline. That Q1 meeting was amazing. Like a genuine,
special.
Yeah, it was really, really good. Not only just on an individual basis, because we really helped find out where our strengths lie and where we want to improve on. Like I value having that as a part of the big meetings, but then also where do we want to go as a team? Where do we want Sin to go? The kind of values behind everything. Getting clear on all that was amazing.
Totally, mate. I think it kind of settles your mind as well when you have meetings like that. Like, you've now got a game plan. You've now got you know where it wants to go. Like you know where we all want to kind of push towards. And it's, as I say, mate, those meetings are special. And the team we've got, I actually couldn't be prouder of every single last person that is involved in this team. Because everyone's just helping each other. And I know for a fact it's a recipe for greatness, to say the least. So yeah, mate, I'm looking forward to seeing where we can go, and how far we can take this place.
Yeah, it'll be funny, because like this is episode 13, so like it'll be, if you think about it, it's like episode 19 or 20. Like upstairs will be open already. Totally. Yeah. Like it's moving fast. It is, and it's going to move fast. There's, as we said, like expansion wise, Sin will be full in the next couple of years in here, like upstairs as well, and that's the way it's going. But like it's so good to be a part of it. It's so good to see the amazing members grow as well. Like we're at the time of filming this, we're in at 6 a.m. The tunes are pumping right now through there. I don't know if you can hear this in the background, but everyone's in there getting after it, having good conversations. Like it's a great place to be.
100%, mate. Totally.
Okay, we are going to round out the podcast. This is...
Before we go, let's speak a little bit about this weekend. Like, I know we spoke a little bit about it at the start. How are you feeling in terms of like the difference between Glasgow and coming into tomorrow? Yeah. Where are we at?
I spoke to someone the other day of Glasgow. I came into it and I never really knew what I had in my locker, because the last Hyrox that I'd done was 1 year previous, like almost to the day, and at Hyrox Glasgow, but I'd done a solos and I hadn't really worked on my running at all. Like I went into it pretty blind, and I was like, I'm not fit here. Mm-hmm. Like I don't feel fit at all. I felt terrible during it pretty much. But then going on to Glasgow, I went through a marathon block during that year. Like my running got a lot better. We done a hard training block before Hyrox as well. I had a coach, so like I knew I was going to do better than the year before, but I never knew what I had in my locker and like how hard I could push as well.
Yeah.
And came out of Glasgow really surprised with what we done. Proud of what we done as well. But this time going into Warsaw, like I know that I can do that.
Yeah.
And I know that we can do that.
Totally.
So I feel that we've still got room to push, as we said. Like we've got a couple of different things on like a few different stations that we can like touch up on and get a little bit better. But we said this one's going to be more pushing the runs a little bit more, and that's something that we both can do.
That's one thing you said as well. You did say, like once we were finished that, it was hard, but there was some room there. There was room there to push at points. I think, and I think that I'm in the kind of same boat as you, mate. I think we've been kind of training quite similar. Since like kind of the lead up to Glasgow and the lead up to Warsaw, and I feel like my training wasn't as good coming into Glasgow. If I'm honest, we spoke a little bit about that, and I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure either. I'd never. That was my first doubles with Fraz on the Friday, so I wasn't sure what could happen. So us coming in at a 57-55 was special. But I definitely think that we can do better than that. But it's what's going to happen has already happened, bro.
Yeah, it's on the day.
It's on the day, mate. Things can creep up, but don't get ready for the best scenario. Get ready for every scenario, and we'll be approaching it with like a kind of dog mentality and really like kind of biting down on the gum shield and making sure that we're having a good time, but also trying our hardest.
Yes.
Can't wait.
I love that. Expect a Hyrox recap with us either buzzing or crying about the result. Also, we'll chat about the relay as well, because the last Hyrox recap, if you've not watched it, have a little listen to that, because we chat about like what we're going to be doing in the relay, who's doing it. So yeah, that's all going to come to fruition tomorrow.
It's going to be good, bro.
Feels good.
Can't wait.
Feels weird that it's tomorrow though.
I know, innit? It's weird. We're sitting here in Glasgow in this small space, and then we're going to be
this cupboard.
this cupboard.
Yeah, let's round that out.
Sick, bro. Class.